Welcome back to 7th Grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about the secret police. Police established by national governments to maintain political and social control. That is what secret police are. Generally clandestine in their operations, secret police have operated independently of the civil police or local police. Back in World War II, the Nazi SS chief Heinrich Himmler turned the regular police forces into an instrument of terror. He created the powerful secret state police, or Gestapo. They were non-uniform police and used ruthless and cruel methods throughout Germany to identify and arrest political opponents and others who refused to obey laws and policies of the Nazi regime. In the months after Hitler took power, the SA and Gestapo agents went from door to door looking for Hitler's enemies, socialists, communists, trade union leaders, and others who had spoken out against the Nazi Party were arrested and were killed. By the middle of 1933, the Nazi Party was the only political party, and nearly all organized opposition to the regime had been eliminated. Democracy was dead in Germany. Many different groups, including the SA and SS, set up hundreds of makeshift camps in empty warehouses, factories, and other locations all over Germany where they could hold political opponents without trial and under conditions of great cruelty. One of these camps was set up on March 20th, 1933 at Dachau, in an abandoned munitions factory from the First World War. Located near Munich in southwestern Germany, Dachau became the model concentration camp for a vast system of SS camps. So what we're doing here is painting a picture of history and showing you how people were operating outside the government and they were capturing people and based on what their agenda was.
You're saying that they operate outside of the regular police. The regular police infiltrated on several occasions by secret police, secret agendas. It drives you crazy because people make it seem like police brutality is like an isolated incident, but then when you realize it's a tool for control and that everybody's afraid of that, it's a form of intimidation, and it's not by chance or by accident. Prime example in America, the reason the Ku Klux Klan wore hoods is because they were your government official, they were your police, they were your mayors and shit like that. So when they take their robe off, do they really take it off? You know what I'm saying? When they put that other uniform on. I think the first person that really broke it down to me when I was a kid was KRS-One when he talked about the police force overseer. He was explaining that back in the day, the police were simply there for property. They weren't there to really stop other crimes. It was like if somebody stole property or stole your slave, that was it. Police didn't do all this other shit they do now. And with that history, it's very hard to be trustful of the police. But yeah, police forces have been infiltrated. You know, if you look up, we brought this up in the past, but Operation Snow White, when you see those Scientologists going back to the 40s and 50s or the 50s, had infiltrated every level of government all the way to the presidency, or at least actually the vice presidency. So yeah, secret police force can infiltrate the real police force or the regular police force and push those agendas.
In North Korea, the secret police is called Gruppa, G-R-U-P-P-A. The group operates as a hidden tool and is used by the government not only for surveillance, but also to crush any local or foreign influence that the citizens might have, which can somehow undermine the supreme leader's authority. A haircut, celebrating a birthday party, watching a foreign movie. These are just some of the things that will get you arrested, punished, or even killed.
Old girl talked about that on Joe Rogan when they were asking her questions. When you escape, your family's punished and killed, or they all have a picture of if that picture has dust on it, you're not loyal, and you could be jailed for that. No, she talks about the things that
Dude,
get you
the shit
jailed.
Is insane. The shit.
Yeah,
is
walking
insane.
your dog will get you jailed.
Not crying hard enough at a funeral.
This is some real deal shit. I think that we're not just talking about like the super police. Our reference, and it sounds terrible. Remember Hogan's Heroes? Remember you had the regular SS and then you had the Gestapo. Like the regular SS was bad enough, but then they call these Gestapo niggas show up and
they way too turn. They way too turn.
This ain't just an idea. This is some real scary shit that people don't take serious, or worse, people want to think it's a club kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm a sheriff. Fuck you. Fuck you, redneck motherfucker.
Well, the Chinese also have secret police. And there was a news article published about this particular thing in New York City on April the 18th, 2023. U.S. federal agents arrested 2 New York residents for operating a Chinese secret police station in the Chinatown district of Manhattan.
They just talked about that, how those Chinatowns they're not for spying, but there's a bunch of spies already in there. There's a good cover for them. That's craziness.
The advocacy group Safeguard Defenders reported that China had set up overseas service stations, including a New York facility that illegally worked with Chinese police to pressure fugitives to return to China. The Department of Justice had been ramping up probes into what it calls the transnational repression by U.S. adversaries such as China and Iran to intimidate political opponents living in the United States. Prosecutors charged 34 Chinese officials for allegedly operating a troll farm and harassing dissidents online, including disrupting their meetings on U.S. technology platforms. They also added 8 Chinese government officials as defendants in a case announced in 2020, charging a former Chinese-based executive of the company Zoom Video Communications and disrupting video meetings commemorating the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests. The suspects were U.S. citizens who led a nonprofit organization that lists its mission as providing a social gathering place for people from China's Fujian province. Before it closed down in the fall of 2022, the men's New York operation occupied a full floor in a nondescript building in Chinatown near the Manhattan Bridge. The site was being used at the very least for government services like helping some Chinese citizens renew their driver's license, activity that should have been disclosed to the U.S. authorities. But it is said that it was also used for sinister activity.
Just intimidating people.
You got motherfuckers in vans just rolling around snatching people up that are not American citizens. That's not the American government.
That's why people are so afraid of the reach of these other countries. And, again, my first.
But you know what happens, though, right? Like, if you get caught in between that shit and you happen to see these Chinese nationals trying to scoop people up, they're operating outside the law. So, if some weapons were to be discharged, well, that would just be too bad. They're not American citizens, and they're committing crimes, trying to kidnap people. I was just simply trying to help a person I saw that I thought was being kidnapped.
I remember they talked about the first seal for America that I think Benjamin Franklin created. It shows Moses crossing the Red Sea. This is crazy. This is a seal crossing the Red Sea. You see the pillar of fire. You see the water back, but it says rebellion against tyranny is obedience to God. That's tyranny. You know what I'm saying? Like for a mother to come in my country, and like you said, they don't have rights. You shouldn't be shooting human beings. But if this motherfucker if I see a kidnapping, I'm flat blasting them. Yeah. So
imagine these motherfuckers that are trying to snatch you up. Oh, buddy. Now, you know what I'm saying? You just gave me a reason to shoot your ass.
But that's the whole.
And I'm gonna shoot your ass and not even think twice about it because, you're an illegal. You're trying to fucking kidnap me. Oh man, you motherfuckers are out of fucking time.
Oh yeah, no, you'll get some lead poison, my nigga. I just remember some of the things that Richard Pryor would say that were really funny, and he would talk about stuff like that. Like he's like, you ever notice how he said the whole world is talking about apartheid in South Africa, but America don't talk about it. America be sending them weapons and bombs. That's because we invented apartheid. A lot of these tactics when we were getting snatched up, and I'm not talking about all the way back in slavery. I'm talking about just like Medgar Evers and some of the freedom riders and stuff like that. So there's a history of that stuff over here. When you sit here and tell people to carry a gun, they're like, you're violent. No, I'm intelligent. We've been brainwashed.
They don't want the idea of self-defense to be in your mind because that creates people that will protect themselves at any cost.
They can, yeah. Well, you just told me that you got Chinese people who are over here legally, but they have a secret police force. No, I'm not with the people they're snatching up are legal. There are people over here legal. They came over here because they didn't want to deal with your shit. But then you said,
and these are American citizens sometimes they're harassing. Too.
Yeah, that's and they're harassing them online. And another thing, here's a problem with me and you because of our maturity and our age. When you hear somebody say harassing, I'm thinking that they're poking you with a stick. Like you're in class trying to study and somebody's poking you in the back. But they start talking about harassing online, and I'm like, what the fuck is her? But people commit suicide from that shit. When people commit suicide from being harassed online. People, that shit works. When you constantly, every time you turn on your machine, you see you're gonna die. You go back to Beijing. I know if you see some shit every single time.
Just kill them motherfuckers, man. Like they here illegally, and they talking shit. Bitch, you gotta go.
I agree. But like I said, I don't. To me and you, we'll make a lot of that.
That's terrorism.
Yeah. Well, hold it. If somebody kept sending you an email, it's aggravating. I'm not going to kill myself or even change my behavior. Because I get enough spam emails as it is. But if you were really on the run and you thought you got away, but then you open that shit, then in your mind, them people have more power than they really. You dig what I'm saying? Like you're like, oh fuck. They found me. They didn't find you, but still, when you're already paranoid, you're already fearful of your existence, that kind of shit could drive you mad. That's what these secret police are here for, is to invoke terror and fear and change your behavior.
This is my thing, though. They ain't got no backup. So
no.
I can smoke all you motherfuckers, and ain't nobody coming to back you motherfuckers up.
Hold it. You're saying some deep shit. Your backup is 6 months away, nigga. Follow me at your peril. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the time they realize that this asset has been killed and they're going to send somebody else, I'll be the move, my nigga. and that's also another thing I think that a lot of people, foreigners, don't appreciate about America. Man, y'all motherfuckers in San Francisco with a Chinatown. Y'all in Chicago with a Chinatown. Take your ass to Montana. Now, you might be the only Chinese nigga out there, but you'll see them coming. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, Brett, there's some other Chinese guys in town. Really? And you'll be ready for them niggas.
But
you know what I'm
the
saying?
thing I'm talking about though is, if you go and you put yourself in that community, then you're gonna have those kind of problems. But let those motherfuckers come to like a white neighborhood trying to snatch somebody.
That's why I said Montana. Like, some place where you're the only Chinese nigga for mine. When you're in Chinatown, and I'm not being short.
Let me tell you how these motherfuckers are. Like this intimidation goes so far across the board for immigrant people because you have illegal weed farms in Maine that are run by the Chinese.
You saw the article? Yes,
there are people that are in there trimming the weed, breaking the weed down, maintaining the farms. These people are forced to do this without any pay. It's a weed farm and everybody there is happy. No. That's slave labor.
Yeah, no, they're not doing it because they want to. They're doing it because they have to. And I think that's how we get things confused. I think that's also where a lot of the things get misguided. You're like, even those guys who are snatching them up might be doing it against their will. Like, hey, man, they got my mama over there, so I got to do this.
That's all right. You can get smoked, though.
Vicious side. Oh, yeah, no. I already told you. You're gonna see your mama soon. But whether you want to or not. But like I said, the idea of secret police is what we're dealing with right now in America.
Dude, when I saw these Chinese motherfuckers in Rwanda whipping these guys in the shipping container, whipping the African dudes that was working for them with a belt. Oh man!
Did you see what happened? This is how I know slavery is. Some of that slavery story is bullshit. Did you see the one where they turn around and start beating them two Chinese dudes' ass? Like y'all getting
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, that guy that was like whipping them, and he was whipping two guys. I'm like, just double team him and beat the shit out of his ass, man. Like,
yeah, there's a video where one of them niggas turn around and they like, all right, nah, this ain't the 1800s. This ain't the 1600s.
I didn't know there was a video out there where they show somebody turn the tables.
It might be the same video. You just ain't seen all of it because It's like you could tell they got frustrated. They were tall. They looked like was Somali or something. They were pretty tall. And I'm like, yeah, man, yeah, you've been watching too many kung fu movies if you think that whip was enough to stop that nigga right there. That nigga had to reach on
This
him.
motherfucker got a belt though, and is whipping people. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, here you go.
Yep. I bet you it's the same video. You just he just haven't seen it. When you see it, you're like, I don't know what
Like
made
a
you
belt
think
is
that
the only is what you think is going to stop me from beating the brakes off of you. Oh man, no, you might get me with one or two licks, but then I'm too close to you at that point, and it's all over then.
It's not even that. It's the fact that you think I'm a child. That is something you do to a child. It's not something that you do to an equal adult. You clearly don't think that I'm your equal. You clearly don't think that my rights or my opinion matters in this situation. And well, you think I'm not working fast enough? Well, shit, I ain't gonna work at all. I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass.
Dude,
I'm
I'm
concerned
talking
with my
about
energy.
soccer kicking that mouth, like all this shit that's illegal in MMA. Be done.
The dance of death where that Korean nigga would stomp your head and oh yeah, that's why. Look, you have to take over Africa through fucked up means, through corrupting the governments, through all this other stuff, because we're warriors. We've been warriors for our entire existence, fighting elephants. We're fighting bigger odds. We've always done that. So y'all motherfuckers know, like, you ain't gonna win directly. You know, if a direct confrontation happens, so hell. Like I said, I think that's the whole point of the secret police, is to intimidate people and make them a bigger thing in your head than they are in reality. Because in reality, y'all still don't stand a chance. It's not enough of y'all. You know, look at any police force. Like even LA, how many police force they got? Like what is it? Like 30,000 or 90,000? That's, you know, and LA has what, 8 million people. Or whatever the number, it might be 200,000. So either way, that's less than 1% of all the population. You know, if all the cops show up, we still got a chance. So that's why intimidation factors are so important. That's why when they show up with like a military vehicle, that's for intimidation. You know, and that was a big deal. It happened under previous presidents, but that budget got bumped up under Obama, where all these small police forces had military vehicles. I'm like, you know, what do you need that for? You're in the middle of bug tussle. And you're like, no, man, you know, drugs. Man, you got one drug dealer, and you know that nigga. He went to high school with you. But still, you got these military weapons. That is about intimidation. That is about making y'all fearful and make you afraid to do stuff. Now, everybody know any nigga in the ghetto ain't worried about that. Like, because my regular conditions are worse. But, yeah, that's about intimidating the public.
Yep. So from 2001 to 2005, the United States ran a global network to transfer terrorism suspects to secret detention sites across the world. There are two main types of rendition. Extraordinary rendition, which involves the transfer of a person from one country to another without a legal process, and often for the purpose of detention and interrogation. Military rendition. This involves the transfer of a person from one military facility to another, often for the purpose of detention and interrogation. Rendition aircraft are aircraft used by national governments to move prisoners internationally. They often use small commercial jets such as a Learjet or a G5 or G6. They will use these small planes because they can get in and out of an airport quickly without any problems. But this illustrates the fact that the United States government will go into another country, snatch somebody up, and keep it moving. The same way these secret police in America are doing the same thing. But it appears that foreigners from other countries tend to have their own type of secret police or some type of repression mechanism to keep people in line with the ideology of their former culture. And you see this a lot. But just the idea of foreigners showing up here thinking they're going to strong arm somebody, man, that gets me even more angry than when I see a foreign motherfucker try to talk to me crazy. I'm like, bro, I don't know where you think you are right now.
You're only here because of my grace. You understand that?
No, you are still standing and breathing because of my grace. Because, buddy, you about to get your ass fucked up talking like that. And you know, people have to be slapped back to reality. That Zen slap to the face to wake them the fuck up. Just like that guy that was whipping those guys in that shipping container. They probably turn around and beat the shit out of his ass. I mean, habitual line stepping. This is really about habitual line steppers. I mean, clearly habitual.
But that's the whole thing, is that since they think they can get away with it, or they're what's the word I'm looking for? They're way too secure in their position, and maybe they're delusional. But that's why they cross the line. Because here's the bad part. I just saw something on Facebook a little bit ago. They said, if you're a giver, make sure you have limits, because takers don't have any limits. These people don't have limits, but the people they're fucking with do. Because I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't slap you in church, kind of thing. Or, I look at the situation. I don't want to behave out of sorts, that kind of thing. And so, but these people you're dealing with, they don't have that problem. They don't have that issue. And that's how they get away with a lot of it, is the audacity of them.
Dude, have you seen this news story where Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, is saying that these illegal immigrants could be lifeguards at public swimming pools?
No.
Yeah.
Excuse the shit out of me.
Yeah. So they're saying because, they don't have enough lifeguards, there's a shortage of lifeguards at these public swimming pools, that they're willing to hire illegal immigrants to do that shit. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This motherfucker's gonna go save somebody, can't even speak no fucking English. You know what I'm saying?
It's not illegal. I don't know if it's a bad idea or a good idea. I guess if you're that desperate for public pools. But, again, this is the question that nobody wants to pose.
No.
Where's their loyalty?
It is illegal. These are illegal immigrants.
You talking about that? They ain't got no visa, no work?
Nothing.
Oh. Okay. Here's my problem with that situation. I don't want people dying, number one. But number two, so since you make the rules, you can break the rules. That's a typical white attitude. Like, you know what? You guys got to follow the rules, but we don't have to follow the rules. It doesn't matter if they have a work visa or not. It doesn't matter if they're here legally or not. We want them to work. We don't want them just... And have you seen the videos? They already have like a whole area set up where they sell their stolen goods. Have you seen that shit? So they have a whole street already set up, and what they're doing, they're walking in Walmart, walking in Lowe's, stealing, and they're walking in all the like regular retail stores, stealing stuff. But they sell them all in the same street. So if you see this guy set up, he has all this DeWalt shit, brand new. Shit costs $800. He's selling it for $120. No bullshit. I can't remember the name of the street, because if I can remember the name of the street, you'll be able to Google it and find it. You're seeing like Home Goods. You're seeing like Martha Stewart shit. It's all for like a tenth of the price. It is all lined up on the street, and well, they don't want us living on the streets, do they? And so you got Mexicans going to these Dominicans who are here illegally and like buying shit. Like, hey, I got to work construction, bro. So it's a whole video on it.
Dude, the crazy thing about this is that the stores, when you're closer to downtown, the closer to the heart of the city, the closer to homeless people that you are, the more locked up the goods are in the stores. And, dude, I mean, if you go to downtown Atlanta, downtown New York City, you'll see, like, when you walk into a CVS, like, the most basic shit is locked up. And it's a weird looking store where there is no browsing. Like, you come in there to buy what you're going to buy, and you get the fuck out.
You're like, hey, I want to get this Dial soap. Can you open this? Can you unlock this for me? Yeah, but I got 9 customers. Give me a minute. I'm like, yeah, if you want to wait for fucking mouthwash, yeah, you go there.
But that environment was created to be that way.
Oh, yeah.
Where everything is monitored.
Well, I think that's also some of my gripes. When people say there's no racism, there's no this, that, and the other, but when you see these other minorities come to America intentionally and they get benefits and loans and things like that, but then when you're a black person and you try to get a loan, or I told you this story years ago, but it's not a story. It really happened to me when I thought about starting one of my businesses. I went to the SBA to get a loan. And they said, if you're not a woman or if you're not military, we can't help you. I said, but I'm a minority. I'm black. She said, I noticed that. But right now, our priority are people getting out of the military, helping them start businesses so they don't go crazy, shoot shit up. or women because they've been underserved. I'm like, so if I was a black woman, would that help? And so, but you see that now. What people do to get that money is a man will start his construction business, but he makes his wife partner and gives her 51% just to get that kind of money, just to get that kind of backing. And even though he runs it, it's his business, but he puts his wife on the board as a vice president, 51% shareholder, just to get that money. And you'll see that, and you see that a lot. So
these situations are a shift in policy. They're a shift in the rights that citizens have. The Bill of Rights is being eroded, and people have to fight back against these things because it's creating a civilization or a country that looks like it's in decline. And
it doesn't have to be. It's eroding us way too soon. But hold it. One of our most popular, one of our most important shows was Death of the Civics Class. And just to hear that, people might not get what we're saying, but literally where you learn how to govern yourself, where you learn the American experiment, when you learn governance is from the civics class.
You learn the Code of Hammurabi.
Yeah, you learn these levels. And right now, people think that you must go to Yale to be president, or you must have special training to be a congressman or a senator. No, all you did was pay attention in civics class, and you got older. You learned how to get your money up and do it. I think one of the biggest issues with America right now is look how many of these politicians come from the East Coast. They come from New York and those areas, and then they come to all these other areas with that slick talking bullshit. I remember one of the candidates here is he's a Democrat. I think he's Mexican, or please forgive me, he's Hispanic. I don't know where he's from, but I don't know what country he originates. Excuse me, but he's doing all this fast talking, all this stuff, all this, not a full-fledged smear campaign. But then you realize, he worked in New York for the mayor or the senator in New York. I'm like,
it's just some slick ass bullshit, man. That's all.
Even though he's a Democrat, he's all nice, and my mom did this, and I'm for your health care. And I'm like, dude, you went through the fucking sweatshop of politicians and came out, and now you're trying to bring it out here. And yeah, you might be a lawyer. Yeah, you might be this. But the thing is, that's another thing, how they get you is because he's Hispanic, you think he's Mexican, and he's not. Not that I'm not dissing the Mexican or what I'm saying is they play on, we have a lot of Mexicans in the Midwest, legal and illegal. And so you're playing,
but he's not blue collar, though.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's the same thing when it came to Texas in Beto O'Rourke. Remember, his name is Robert, but he's going by Beto because it gave you the impression that he was Hispanic, and you realize, like, but O'Rourke, he does have a little tint to him. I think somebody in his family must be, but he's not of the Mexicans that are working their asses off. But that's what you're playing on. They're playing on that. I think he's a Republican, but I think he was a dick. And then you realize that he really wasn't a Republican. He was actually more Democrat. It was just the fact that he thought that would work in Texas. And that's what people are doing. They're doing the politics that they think will work in the area. And look, that's also another problem with secret police is the information gathering. They're there to gather information. They're also there to intimidate. We established, but gathering information and taking it back to, and like, okay, we can custom this election to this guy, or what's big over here, this is big over, or they use internet service from this and this time. So if you slow it down, they'll be upset enough to vote for you and say, hey, the internet will work perfectly under me. Shit like that. And that's what people don't take serious, is that they think everything's an accident. They think what they're going through is happenstance. No, it's a plan to aggravate you and frustrate you and make you vote irrationally. And that's the shit that we're dealing with.
But the intelligence gathering, the data mining, and how all that information is accumulated, you have to be very careful about, how free you are with your information, your personal information. But these are also groups that are like gathering, all this information on people and using it against them. And then sometimes they use gang stalking, or they use technology. So then imagine these people who are setting up these fake police stations, these foreign police stations in America, and they have MK Ultra voice to skull technology. That just compounds the problem and makes it hell on earth for the people that they are repressing. You know, so.
But real talk with that, that's why I said this whole paranoia thing. What if they amplify it by doing that? What if it's ways to make it worse. It always gonna be worse. But you don't want to stop and think that for 1 second that your thoughts aren't yours, or how you feel about something. And that's what people are dealing with. And fake scarcity. Everybody's afraid there won't be enough food, but it should be plenty of food. You can grow it all you need to. You see all these people using like electricity on food, and they say it's supposed to make it bigger and all that shit. And you see these pictures from like 1930s and 40s where they have these huge heads of cabbage and these huge watermelons and stuff like that. Trust me, how come we can't go back to doing that? I want that 40, 50-pound watermelon. I don't know if I can eat it or not, but shit, I know they used to exist.
But then, when you think about what these police stations are doing, these secret police are doing, then you have the unlawful detainment of American citizens that was allowed because of the Patriot Act. And these things were extended, which allowed people to be taken without any judge or jury or anything like that. Now, this was a lot of these infringements on the rights of people, civil rights. This was happening during the War on Terror. And you could feel this environment of the surveillance state that had been installed, recently. And you can see how people were just afraid to speak out and afraid of everything. And so that's how they were able to do these things, or even continue to still do these things, through sheer intimidation. But that's the issue, though, is that it works because they're using fear. Like, imagine if you moved to another city and people you had beef with before moved to the new city that you're in. And they see you and they're like, oh, we're going to come snatch you up if you talking shit. Are you going to sweat that shit? Are you going to go, like, get your weapon, but like, bring it, motherfuckers, like, come on. But these people that they're intimidating aren't doing this. And so they're afraid. And that's why the shit works. But if you fight fire, if you throw gasoline on fire, it's a different story then.
Well, it's not that. What it is that...
But these are also countries that don't have a Second Amendment. So you don't have that type of resistance to tyranny that's like built into the civilization.
That the Second Amendment, they're not familiar with it. They know of it. They've heard of it. They hear the stories of America. It has more guns than people. They hear that shit. There's literally like 120 guns per each person in America. So they hear that shit. But then they get here and don't know how to purchase it. They're scared of it. There's nobody to train them. And so now you're still dealing with the same intimidation in this country that you deal with in your home country. And you have a built-in fail-safe to take care of that. But they just don't know. They're not familiar with the process and what to do.
Or their concept of street justice is relegated to the mafia of their culture.
I don't want to be racist or prejudicial, but there was a Asian guy from a foreign military, and he walked into an American gun store. I swear it was in Texas. Blew that nigga's mind, because I'm like, he's like, I've heard of this gun, but I've never seen it in person. So when he walked in, he was just amazed at the supply in just a regular store. This ain't a military store. This is just a gun store. And he was like, yeah, I've heard of this gun. I know it's in Europe. I know. And he was over here. I don't know what kind of training he was doing or what he was doing, but his mind was blown. Now, was he exaggerating? Don't know. But it was clear that the selection fucked with him. And
what did he say?
I don't remember. It was years ago. But he couldn't believe all the types. It's one thing to have a bunch of guns. because in the military you got a bunch of M16s, but he's seeing the variety of guns and brands, and you got HK here, you got Ruger here, and he's like, this is amazing. I just remember being a kid, and they were telling. I remember being in junior high, and they were talking about the Emperor of Japan came over here, and this was after the World War II. They were talking about having a war with us, or this was might have been before that. Remember what that nigga said? He said, "There's a gun behind every blade of grass." He was saying that that's how many guns are in the hands of the public in America. He's again. So I just think it's odd that these Asian countries, when people come over here and they see that, it blows their mind. But this also goes back to something that you said in past podcasts, that they've had a history, China and Japan, of oppressing their people going back literally thousands of years. And so they've perfected how to oppress their people. Even I remember learning about ninjas, and we were always taught that those karate weapons were just regular weapons. I mean, regular tools that were used as weapons, and that's how they hit. They couldn't have weapons, so they had to hide the sai, and they had to hide their weapons in plain sight. And so when you deal with that as a culture. Yeah, and so now you see when they come over here and they see like, oh, all these weapons, they're like, oh shit, you can buy a gun at Quick Trip, fuck, But
so then, how do you deal with that? How do you break that down? You attack them psychologically and on an ideological level, where people begin to fight with each other over the smallest thing.
Well, they also fear all kinds of stuff too, because they've been brainwashed already. They've been taught and told that you can't do this, you can't go there, you can't go here. And so now you're an American, you're like, yeah, yes I can, And but that's the most important part, is defending yourself.
But gangs, though, these are essentially gangs, all different types. For example, Masonic gangs will intimidate people and assassinate people, and all based off of things that might have pissed them off, or circumnavigated their control mechanism.
What my great aunt told me.
They killed presidents.
No. What she said, I don't know what the nigga did, but he at the lodge. My uncle was Scottish Rite. Whatever this guy did, they mailed his ass away. They put him in a big box. They gave him a bucket so he could piss and shit in, and they mailed his ass away and told him never come back. What the fuck? What the fuck? So that's the kind of shit that
your ass was allowed to fucking leave.
Oh yeah.
In that situation.
Yeah, you were given the right to leave, whether you wanted to or not. But yeah, that's more gang activity than community service. Don't you agree?
That's exactly what I'm saying. There's all this gang shit happening. So it's like, oh, so this is off the books. So I can smoke you motherfuckers off the books. All right. Cool, man.
This intimidation is so powerful and so commonplace, though, and that we accept it. But we have the ability to defend ourselves. And I think also the other way they get you is you're worried about winning or losing. After you violate me a certain way, I'm not worried about winning or losing. I'm just worried about getting my lick back. I might die in the process. You understand? But 17 of y'all motherfuckers.
But here's the thing, though. They don't live here. You live here. So know where all the fucking spots are. So that means you have the guerrilla advantage, yes.
We've seen it over and over that people behave differently when they're on their home turf, or when they have a legitimate gripe. And so, yeah, nigga, I'll fight for mine.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the part that I keep driving home, is that these people are operating illegally on American soil. Oh, you're already on some violating shit to begin with. But then you thinking you're going to come and enforce some shit. No way. But that's why they want to keep this ideological grip on people's minds, because they come from a place where you can oppress people and intimidate people. Whereas you're trying that here, and I'm like, dude, you will get shot in the fucking face talking that crazy shit about you're going to do as you're told and this and that. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen.
But like I said, that's why this is something we talk about on the podcast, is knowing when and how to fight. And I think that we've gotten away from physical altercations so much to the point where you're afraid of one. And again, had a talk with a guy that and he was like, I guess at some point in time he had surgery. And I'm like, dude, I've had more surgeries than you. You know, am I afraid of dying? Yeah, but self-preservation is part of it. I have to fight to stay alive.
Hold on a second. He said he had a bunch of surgeries.
I don't know the details, but I'm talking to him about fighting somebody, and he lifts his shirt and he shows me this cut he has. I guess he had some kind of surgery. I was unaware of it, but I'm like, dude, like I don't want to hurt your feelings, but have you seen my knees that have been repaired? Have you seen? I have a detached muscle in my elbow. I got a bullet wound from when a bullet ricocheted hit me in my chest and stomach at the gun range. I'm like,
when did that happen?
Happened 7 years ago.
And where did it hit you at?
Right here in the middle of my chest. It broke up in so many pieces. It hit my wife. I didn't realize I had got shot. I just felt the burning pain, and I'm like, damn, something is burning the shit out of me. Because when the metal goes in, it's burning me in two places. I feel it.
What range were you at?
And it just opened. I was one of the first people there. But what happened? It hit my wife in the hand and leg, and she was bleeding. I didn't bleed at all. I'm kind of fat, y'all, and so it was wedged in my fat. But for her, I look over, and her hand is bleeding bad, and her leg is bleeding bad. So we go to the hospital, and they take all the metal out on my chest and take all the metal out of her hand and her leg. So that's why I'm like, look, bro, I can't live in fear. I can't be afraid.
What kind of? I'm curious about this ricochet thing. Where were you firing?
AR-15. So
it was a 5.56 round?
Yeah, so let me explain what happened. So this is a brand new facility. They got all the state of the art shit. They just opened. So the targets turn and they zip forward and back. It does a lot of
right, but it was the concrete that the bullets bounced off of.
No. The top of it is a big metal part that controls the target. And so it's just hit it at just a weird angle because it's actually concave like a triangle. So when stuff hits it goes to the side. I hit it dead on, and that shit came right back at me. So I go back like a week later. My wife was afraid. That's why she stopped shooting for a while. I go back. He said, "Man, we watched that video over and over. We couldn't figure out what happened." Then finally, we see when you jump back, you can see the metal coming at you and past you. And he said, "Man, we watched that video like 100 times."
But wait a minute, wait. As soon as the injury happened, did you report it to the range owner?
Oh, hell no. I took my wife to the hospital. Yeah, no. You understand, once I saw my wife bleeding, it fucked me up. Like, oh, shit. And then that's when I realized what happened because, like I said, I'm still burning in my chest. And it's crazy because the shirt I got on, you'll laugh, but the type of shirt I got on, you can't see the hole. It's sealed right back up. It's a thermocool. It's a type of baseball shirt, but it's like a sweatshirt. The shit closed right back up. And that's why I didn't really, I couldn't tell until I got to the hospital. I'm there for her, and I lift my shirt up, and you see the copper. You see the copper in my, you can see it. Like in the 2 or 3 holes, you see big chunks of copper. And
were you bleeding?
No, I didn't bleed at all. Mm-mm. Like I told you, it was wedged in my fat. It didn't make it to no vital organs for me. But her, you didn't just see red. You saw blood like pouring, and I'm like, oh fuck, what did you do? And she was back there like loading the magazine because I was telling her, hey, load this magazine for me. And that's the story. So like, that's why I told you. So when this motherfucker was complaining about you don't know what it's like to live like this and live with I'm like, man, I live with injury every day. I live with the fear of something else happening. My story. My dad broke my ankle when I was a kid. Yeah, I'm afraid of it happening again, but I'm not afraid of it happening again. It's not. Even when I broke my meniscus in my knee, I was running around, that shit just broke. They rebuilt my knee. Now, when you first get over an injury like that, yeah, you're apprehensive about running. You're apprehensive about, jumping over a fence. But after about 4 months, you kind of like, fuck it. I got to do this, after all the physical therapy. And you just, so I'm older now, and I'm more conservative, but I'm not a bitch. I can't do that. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Can't be a bitch. I can't just be in fear all the time. The other night I went to you're gonna laugh. Saturday night I go by somebody's house, this douchebag's house, But one of the homies pulled up. He said, "Hey, you want to go meet Dr. Umar?" So I thought he was speaking. He's speaking the next night. So I go Friday night, and next thing I know, I'm working security because the homeboy who brought him in, like, "Hey, Rand, you strapped?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am." He said, "Well, there are some white supremacists out here that don't care for him. We wouldn't mind having a couple extra guns." I got you, homie. I got you. Ran home, got my shit, and came on back. Worked a little security. But
Anything happen?
Oh hell no, not in North Omaha.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not in North Omaha.
Where was he speaking at?
In North Omaha, there's a place in. He's been here before, but I forgot the spot he was speaking at this time. But yeah, so I do have more limitations now, Roscoe. That's life. But I can fix those by getting back in shape. I can fix those by changing my diet. People live forever. People can live to 150 and be healthy. It's up to me to fix that. But I can't be scared either. You can't sit here and be paranoid. You can't sit here and worry. I'm like, by doing that, I've already made them stronger. By doing that, I've already given them whatever. I can't do that shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is true. By doing that, it makes them stronger. But, and even in situations like that where that guy is known to have a certain type of perspective on a lot of things, it can draw... Huh?
He's a pussy.
Who is?
The person that I was talking to
that
said he had been injured. He was a pussy before the injury is what I'm saying. That's what nobody wants to admit. But people are they give you the impression that they were gangster before and then something happened. And
no, I'm talking about Dr. Umar. And how,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you meant. But
yeah.
I'm talking about, and so, all you had to do was tell me white supremacists, and I was ready. You understand that? Like, if I called you right now and told you, "Hey man, playing by your parents' house," you would fly down immediately.
But this is the thing that you were telling me about. There was some people that went to this George Floyd era protest, and they said a bunch of white people in paramilitary gear showed up, and I think they were addressed by one of the head speakers.
The speaker, yeah, Leon. He said, "We appreciate your water, but I can't say how we may not align with all your philosophies."
But
and so
it was never revealed why they were there.
They came from far and wide, bro. You had plates from Louisiana, you had plates from all over. And the cops were there looking at them. So that's the crazy part. They actually had cops there checking license plates. The shit that you see like the FBI do, that's what these cops were checking license plates. The symbol was almost like a hammer and sickle, but then it had two lines on the bottom that were like two downward pointing arrows. I've never seen it. Even when I go, if I go online and try to look for it, I could not find the symbol. But it was almost like a hammer and sickle.
But if it has a hammer and sickle, those are communists, man.
I hold it. It was like the hammer and sickle. Then it had two arrows going down on the bottom.
Yeah, it's a derivative of it. That's all. I mean,
I get that. That's what it should mean. But until I know for sure, I don't want to just throw that out there because I'm against communism. I'm not for that shit. So, but I think. But a lot of times people piggyback shit too, bro. They might make a symbol that resembles that because you're familiar with it, not realizing it has a completely different meaning. But yes, they were they were at the Malcolm X Foundation. It was during George Floyd. It was at least 300 people there, maybe more, in the whole pavilion. But there were white folks that were in the same kind of color, the burnt earth, scorched earth garb, and they had the military boots on. But that patch was something I was not familiar with. And they brought a bunch of water and set it down and like, "Hey, we're supporting y'all." And old boy said, "I don't." And he at the time he was the head of the Malcolm X Foundation. I give him credit. He spoke up. He was like, "We don't know if we appreciate your water, but we don't know if your views align with ours." And I'm like, I gave him credit for that. And some of the other shit he did was bitch made, but that shit right there, that was on point. That was real.
Right, but I mean, this group. They're probably a militia, and they're like,
yes,
we want to get in. We want to get in that tussle. We want to be involved. We want to, test ourselves and all that bullshit.
Yeah, see, and that's something like I said. I used to bounce, and you would get that. You would get these white dudes that learned some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and they couldn't wait to try it on somebody. and that kind of stuff. Now you had people that wanted to bounce because if you're a bouncer, you get, it's one of the few places where you get to test the stuff you learn. But on the flip side, people want to fight a bouncer too.
What else is it? I mean, you want to attack the motherfuckers that maintaining order. So you're an anarchist or an insecure anarchist.
No, keep it real. Say the whole thing. You ain't get the balls to fight a cop, but I'll fight a bouncer. You ain't get the balls to stop police brutality, but I'll jump on a motherfucker and make it $12 an hour. Yeah, no. One, I was making $25 an hour. Two, I'm not gonna miss work. I told the motherfucker I'm not missing work tomorrow, so I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it takes to hurt you.
I see this video of these guys fighting outside of a bar, and it's two dudes that are striking each other on the sidewalk, and the camera is looking straight down the sidewalk, and you see this dude running full clip straight towards the action, and he fucking does a flying knee and hits the guy.
I know what you're talking about. Like
oh,
Gincana.
That was straight up Gincana. Like,
oh man, that's quality right there. That's quality.
But the whole point of this episode is to shine a light on these illegal activities that are happening to intimidate people, to punk people, into
Conforming.
Not speaking out. Yeah, they want them to conform, but they don't want them to speak out, and because they know that shit is contagious. That's why a lot of these people leave these communist countries, because they want to experience a free market. They want to be able to move up.
They don't want to be free, period. And that's why I said it's not fair that they come over here and they don't partake in the most important part of, you don't have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of congregation without the Second Amendment. And
so you don't own any property. And the crazy part about the whole thing is that if you can't own property, then you really have no way of advancing in that society.
Period. You have no way of making yourself better, improving. The problem with black folks is sometimes we get wrapped up in things, in possessions. But the fact of the matter is, when you have property, you can be upwardly mobile. You can graduate to the next level. You can accumulate stuff, buy stuff, free market. But sometimes you saw it happen under the stimulus when it came to COVID and stuff. Under the stimulus, all these people. This is so fun. They said that Louis Vuitton stock went up 3 to 4 times because all these black folks was taking the stimulus checks buying Louis Vuitton bags and clothing and shit. Dude, look it up. Look it up. And that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because how come y'all didn't buy stock? If you're gonna, that stuff was to help people pay bills and live, yada yada. But if you're not gonna do it for that, you should have been buying, a bunch of penny stocks. You should have been buying crypto. You should have been buying bonds and commodities and stuff like that. Instead, you're like, oh, hell, y'all niggas ain't up on this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I ain't got nothing else to say about that.
This entire subject is like, whenever I hear about this shit, and I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers really tried it. You know what I'm saying? Or they really thought they was going to run up in here and just, it's basically taking over some shit. They're basically saying, we're going to take over this neighborhood. We're going to take it. Like, no, you're not, dude. You ain't taking over shit. Look, when you see white people coming into a black neighborhood, gentrifying shit, they on some, we're going to take this shit over mentality. Now imagine they was coming in, snatching people up out of their houses, or while they're at work, or while they're going to the grocery store, they're snatching people up. Then imagine that shit. Oh man, you're not playing by the law anymore.
Nope.
Because then it's we playing for keeps. That's what's up. I like it. That's you playing my game.
But that's what I meant by people don't know how to fight. Sometimes we don't know the rules, or we're given a set of rules, but the other motherfuckers ain't playing by them rules. And that's how people get confused, and that's why people don't fight back. Look, here, people never want to talk about the stories when black folks whooped ass. But look up the Deacons for Defense. Me and you have talked about it before. Them motherfuckers got M16s and real weapons.
Say it again slower.
Deacons for Defense. They were down in Louisiana, and if you look it up, they ran the Klan off, and the Klan wanted a truce. The Klan asked for a truce because they got their ass. Hey, y'all, you can't be killing us like this. So, look, this is not conjecture. This is not. I'm not. I'm not elaborating or whatever. Look it up. Deacons for Defense. The Klan came at them crazy, and they whooped their ass. These are deacons from the church, and they got their weapons and was killing these motherfuckers. So the Klan asked for a truce. Like, hey, we won't come in your area. So, but that's what I mean by, if you're in Chinatown and you're a Chinese person and you're trying to escape some shit and they send them secret police, then you and your homeboys need to buy illegal weapons. And when the motherfuckers come for you, you need to send them back to where they came from, postmarked. You understand? With no return address. You know, and because what happens is we have been so brainwashed that violence is bad. Violence is a necessary part of living. And we get away from it because we think we're evolved, we think we're smart, but the motherfuckers dealing with you are violent. Even the government, they deal with you, they're violent. And so that's
but you can't manipulate a motherfucker that's willing to shoot you.
No.
There's no manipulating that.
No, not if it's justified. No.
But that's them trying to say, you shouldn't have your weapons. That I'm going to shoot you with when you try to come for me? Of course I'm going to have these weapons.
Look, I got your ass. Come on. Come see me.
But this is the deal, though. This is part of the reason why people who had a problem with the Second Amendment should take another look at it with a different pair of eyes, because when you need to defend yourself, see, this is the problem. People wait until it's too late to be in that situation to try and do something. Then they want to go to the gun store and buy a gun after the crime has been committed.
And the problem is they haven't had the proper training, and they're doing an emotional response.
It's a reaction.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. These emotional reactions tend to be poorly planned.
Well, the other thing, the pastor at my church I grew up at, he's a pacifist. He don't have a gun, but he's not opposed to you having it. That's another thing that I don't think is right. If you don't believe in guns, great. Why would you want to push that on everybody else? Because you're pretending like you don't know the good that guns have done. You're literally ignoring that, the lives that have been saved.
So how is he pushing it on people, but he's not a true advocate?
Who? Pastor McPherson?
Yeah.
Shoot, he tells you, like, hey, look, no, I'm not for guns. I don't have a gun in my house. My faith is what takes care of me. But I am not against you having one. He knows I carry. I go over there all the time with guns. He's not interested, but he trusts me.
His son has guns.
Yeah. I know that, but I'm just saying, he's never talked negative. He never tried to talk me out of anything. He's like, you're a grown man. I respect that. He even has stories of, there used to be this other minister that used to work on cars, and he had a 44, and he was working on a car one day, and these 4 kids walk up, and they just start talking to him, and the one kid goes, he has a gun, and they took off running. He's like, I didn't pull it on him. That's because they were there to fuck you up. But when they saw that gun, they had a change of heart. And you can't see the future. You can't read people's minds. But when you see a gun and you take off running, the gun's not pointing at you. The guy's, working, he's doing an oil change, or he's working on a car, he's underneath it. He's answering your questions. But when that kid saw that gun on that reverend's hip, he yells, he has a gun, and he takes off. All four follow him.
Right. Because when you would see a person with a gun normally, you're not going to have that reaction unless you wanted to do some fucked up shit.
Unless you're there for no good. And so, yeah. Like I said, pastor, like, it's not for me, but I support you. And hell, I've done security at the church, and I'm not doing security without a gun. Now, he ain't the pastor there no more, but that pastor knows me. He's like, you're on the security team.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, is that getting people more familiarized with weapons, it's something
what you were saying that was deep is that don't wait till it's a problem.
That's
what you're saying. Yeah, when you wait till after the baby is born, birth control will do good. If you wait till after the situation it had, and now you're playing catch up, That's the whole issue. I've taken 2 trips to the gun range with people from my church and showed them how to shoot, let them shoot several different guns. You do that because they have curious, they want to buy guns. I think one of the biggest issues is, you know me, I think every woman, when she turns 14, should be given a revolver and taught how to use it. I bet you don't see all this sex trafficking and shit like that because, like I said, these people have been brainwashed to think that I'm not supposed to have a gun is this, a gun is that, and all these people are taking advantage of you because of that. They know that you don't carry. They know that you're not prepared, and they'll snatch you up and sell your ass overseas. And the shit happens over time and time again.
Here's another thing, man: knife training and
Yes.
martial arts. Definitely.
Period.
See, when you have martial arts training, when you then go and transfer those skills and muscle memory to gun training, then it overlaps very well. And it's really good at putting a person into the martial mind so that they can understand that the weapons are just an extension of the mind, so that how to use the weapons effectively. And not just guns, but knives too, and whatever you can use at your disposal to protect yourself.
Like I said, we're convinced that protecting yourself is wrong, killing is wrong. Killing is, if I protect myself and you die in the process, that's your fault.
Killing in self-defense is not wrong.
Period. There's nothing else to talk about. I was defending myself. But like I said, so if you got people over here, you have Chinese nationals trying to protect themselves, you have people from other countries, you have a cartel coming after people. If you're here legally, even if you're here illegally, you still have a right to protect yourself. But I'm simply stating the fact that you have people over here that have offended somebody where they were. That's why they came here in the first place.
Right. So, having said all that, being aware of the Bill of Rights and your personal rights, it's important that you understand that there are forces out here that will try to silence you and intimidate you. But the best thing you can do is to learn about weapons and how to fight and how to defend yourself. So if you are in a situation where somebody tries to snatch you up, you can take them out. Take them out in self-defense.
Not even just snatch you up, alienate your rights. If they're trying to take your freedom of speech, they're trying to take your freedom of religion. They're not going to do it by just talking. They're going to come and hit you in the head with something. They're going to come and stab you. They're going to come with weapons.
Change the law so they can do these things.
They're going to come with the numbers. Yes. And so if that's the case, then you have one thing, and one thing for sure is the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So you get you a little AR and you practice with it. So when somebody comes on your property and tells you, like, hey, no, you need to go back to China, or hey, no, you need to go back to Nicaragua, or hey, you're like, no, I kind of like it here. Like we all saw Malcolm X, take these bullets for them their sheets. That's that shit I'm talking about. Being afraid is fine, but you have to act on it.
You have to take action.
Yes.
That's all I got. We out. Peace.
Holla back.